In this video, we'll discuss research-proven strategies on how to make new vocabulary stay in your memory. Okay, let's start with this one. It's called interleaving. It has two meanings. First, try not to learn all the words from one topic. For example, food topic or animals topic. It makes your brain confuse them a little because your brain already understands them as being a part of something, like a part of one big topic. So it's easier for your brain to confuse these words. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn words that are used together in the same topic often. It means that you should introduce some other words into that. Like if you're doing a text on some topic, try to also look at the words that can be used in different discussions. Another part of interleaving is having more than just one type of words. So don't learn just nouns in one day. Learn also some verbs, also learn some adjectives, some adverbs. So mix different words together. It's going to make it a little more difficult for your brain to confuse these words. So it'll make it easier to learn them. Okay. Next strategy is spacing. It means to have some period of time between learning. For example, if you just learned a set of words, try to review that set of words the next day, and then in 3 days, and then in 1 week, and then in 2 weeks, and then in a month. Try not to learn the same words and review them every single day. Try to provide some space for your brain between those learning stages. The next strategy is deep processing. It also goes along with lexical approach. So deep processing is when you're thinking about a word much deeper. So you're not just thinking about its translation to your native language, but you're also thinking about what phrases it might be in. So try to learn it with other words that it's often used with. Also think about synonyms, antonyms, what kind of grammar it usually goes with. So think about it deeper. Process this word more in your brain. It makes it more likely for your brain to remember it for longer. The next strategy comes from the previous strategy. It's connecting new words to things you already know. So you'll be building schemas in your brain. What is a schema? So a schema is basically some set of knowledge that exists in your brain. And then your brain has many different schemas. And for our brains, it is easier to add something to existing schema rather than to build a new schema. So what you're doing is, for example, you're thinking about synonyms, antonyms that you already know, or you can add it to existing grammar, or you can add it to your life experience, like create sentences, create some sentences, examples with your life experience with this word. So you're adding this new knowledge to something you already know. It makes it easier for our brains to remember something when it's connected to something it already knows. And the next one is noticing. What is noticing? So noticing is when you are looking and when you are seeing and encountering the words you already learned multiple times. And you're also doing that deliberately. So you're paying attention. Research suggests that we need to deliberately notice a word at least 7 times to remember it. That means reading texts with it, making sentences with it, doing exercises with it, quizzes, and a lot of different things we can do with words, but at least 7 times. 10 is better. All right. Next is practicing retrieval. Retrieval is when we're basically taking the words out of our brains. So we're not just looking at them, but we're also using them in some way. Like we're creating sentences, we're doing quizzes maybe. So we're making our brains remember that word instead of just seeing that word. And the last strategy is related to the previous one. It's about creating output, not only input. So output is our speaking and writing, maybe some types of exercises, and then input is reading, listening, so something that goes in you. Output is something that goes out of your brain, right? So how do you practice output? You can create examples. You can find someone online to chat with. You can start explaining words to yourself. You can also just chat with AI and ask it to talk to you on a certain topic so you can use these words. So the main thing about learning words and making them go into your active vocabulary is actually using them. It's not just noticing them, but it's also using them. If you're just noticing them, it's in your passive vocabulary. If you're also using them, it can get into your active vocabulary. So, what do we have here? Learning vocabulary isn't just about memorizing it, it's about building connections in our brains. Use these strategies, and soon you'll notice how much easier you now remember new words. If you found this useful, comment below with one new technique that you would like to try, and also tell us what other techniques you use to remember new vocabulary. Subscribe to my channel to see more research-based language learning advice.